Okay, welcome everyone. Today we will be analyzing my first 20 silksong Any% speedruns. For this video, we will be looking at just the Mosshome segment, analyzing the strategies and techniques used, how my times changed over the runs, and diving deep into the data. We'll be looking at the Mosshome enter and Mosshome exit parts separately. With that said, let's pass it on over to our data guy and see what we are working with. Here we have the split times of our 20 Mosshome segments. As you can see, my first attempt was by far the worst, taking over 5 minutes. And we'll see why that happened a little bit later. As the runs continued, I got more and more consistent, faster and faster, eventually leading to my final time, a sub 2 minute 50. We will be exploring each of the peaks and valleys, seeing what makes a great Mosshome and what makes a bad Mosshome. First, we're going to look at the route on the way to the Moss Mother fight. Then we will be looking at the Moss Mother fight herself. So I will see you over to the first run's path to Moss Mother fight. Okay, here's our first run's attempt at getting to Moss Mother. So let's see how it plays out. We are doing this technique called the pogo to get a speed boost compared to walking. If you land on the ground, it slows you down though. So I'm messing it up a lot in my first run, but we'll see progression on that as we look at later runs. At this point, there's a high jump that you need a pogo to cross, which we now first try. We're going to continue going across this room. And here is a spot where we get hit with a sickness. So later on, we're going to be improving at getting through that faster. Then we continue across the rest of this room. And we're going to be coming up on another cool section. We can pogo off of 2 roller enemies to get height into a jump. And nail that. First run did not nail the second one. It is one of the easier tricks, so later runs mostly will be hitting that. And then we have one last hallway to go through. Don't fall in the hole. And we finish at about 2 minutes and 5 seconds. Here we have our second run. A little bit faster than the first, and let's see what we did different. To start, we're nailing our pogos better. There's 2 kinds of pogos that you can do to speed up. There's neutral pogos, which are a little more advanced, and those are the ones that are more mistake prone. And there's high pogos, which stop before you hit the ground, so there's no risk of falling into and losing time there. We're still new at the pogoing strats, so you will see the improvement happen over the runs. Now we're coming back up to the rollers again. First try that one. And I still keep jumping to the left, losing time there. But this time I first tried that roller, so we got some time saved there compared to the first run. The first run left this room at 2:03, and this one we got at 1:53. We will be looking at 2 more runs of the path to Moss Mother. This is run number 4, so 2 runs after the last one we saw. We are already seeing big upgrades. Our neutral pogos and our high pogos are getting substantially better from the very poor that they were before. I'm still making small mistakes like falling into the water, but no major mistakes, good jumps. That time we tried to pogo into the sickness, which would give us a little bit of a distance advantage, but we messed it up. So going forward, we will likely be doing that every run, however more successfully. Get some good neutral pogos there. Coming into this room, hopefully we can do better on the rollers. Okay, we got a first try on both the rollers, and we also didn't accidentally go to the left that time, so even more time saved there. Run number 2 left this room at 152, 153. This one is 148, so about a 5-second bonus on our previous run. Okay, in this final clip for Path to Mossmother, we are looking at our 12th run, which came out as the best out of all 20, and we're going to be comparing it with run number 4 that we just looked at. To start off, they both do the pogoing strategy, but the top run is cleaner with it and gets through the room a half-second faster. The bottom run is going to make a couple mistakes in this room, falling up to the pit here, and then falling into the water in this section. Now, we could see the top run is at a clear advantage in this spot, but coming up, the bottom run is gonna catch up. We'll see why. And right there, it got in one more pogo. In this room, the top run was able to pogo into the illness, whereas the bottom run messed up the strategy. That's going to save the top run a full second in that room. Going into the roller pogo room, there's going to be a little bit more time saved for the top run too. He lands directly onto the platform instead of mantling up after the second roller pogo. Now going into this final room, their strategies are basically the same, but the bottom run doesn't hit the vines on the last pogo, meaning it has to take one more nail swing, and our run number 12 comes out a full 3 seconds faster than the previous best. So we just looked at the Path to Mossmother in a few different runs. Now we're going to look at the Mossmother fights and see my progression there. The room entering the Mossmother fight is pretty simple. It starts with a pogo. There's a bench on the left. Our first run, to save a bit of time, chose to skip that bench, saving about 5 seconds. And then we go up here, get pogos into the vines, and if you hit one of the flowers, it starts the fight early. So he starts out taking a couple hits, but Mossmother's not too hard of a boss. To save time, he forgoes healing, aiming just to gun her down, and then tragedy strikes. He dies and loses all of that time from the beginning also, having to redo the whole run again. On his second Mossmother fight, now 2 minutes later, he chooses not to take the bench again, and we'll see if that decision pays off. Gets in a couple good hits early. Here he starts taking some damage, and that is going to put him in a perilous spot, but he does choose to heal this time. A smart choice in my opinion, especially because he took what would have been the lethal damage right there. And he finishes the fight. So that was my first Mossmother attempt. Went not too bad. We're going to throw it on over to some of the faster attempts. Here we have our second run's Mossmother fight. The room starts out as before, but this time we're going to make one key difference to save ourselves a ton of time in case we die, and that is taking the bench this time. We took 3 minutes on our first Mossmother fight due to dying. If we die now, it'll only cost us not as much time. So he hits the flower to start the fight early, and we are underway. In this run, the fight starts off a lot stronger, getting in tons of hits quickly. The biggest time loss is when the boss runs from one side of the screen to the other. That means you have to chase it and you're not hitting it as much. In future runs, we're going to see strategies that eliminate the issue of this attack. Our run crushes the boss and leaves the room at a finishing time of 75 seconds. Let's take a look at run number 3. Here we have our third Moss Mother fight in run number 3. This is an incredibly fast fight that goes on undefeated for 14 more runs after this one. So let's see what makes this fight so special. To start off, we're going to get a lot of really strong double hits off of the jump, which we don't successfully do in other runs up to this point. We stagger her really quick, and now before she's able to move a second time, we kill her. The end result is a 1 minute and 8 second Moss Mother exit. Here we are looking at our final 2 Moss Mother fights. These are the fastest 2 out of all 20 runs. Run number 17 on the bottom and run number 20 on top. Let's see what they do to make this so good. They both start the battle at the exact same time and immediately get off to attacking and sticking to the boss as close as they can. Then, at the critical moment after the stagger, they stay to the right of the boss so that when it tries to go across the screen, it stays on the same side, leading to Hornet not having to chase Moss Mother down and getting a very quick kill, 64 seconds and 62 seconds respectively. After looking at several Path to Moss Mothers, I would say there's definitely a good 5 or more seconds to be saved on that split with better neutral pogos. Seeing our boss fights, we can definitely improve. There were still some missed hits in there, but we have covered a lot of ground since we have started speedrunning. Looking at our charts, we've gotten faster and faster and more consistent each time. Thank you for watching our Mosshome edition of the Any20 series. Join in next time where we will be looking at the Greymore Bell segment with some of the hardest skips in the run. See you then.